purpose of what we were doing.
We are also following news from the Supreme Court in a 6-3 decision. The justices are letting the Trump administration ban transgender service members from the military for now, while legal challenges play out in lower courts. We have team coverage on all of this. CBS News White House reporter Aaron Navarro is on the North Lawn. CBS News senior national security correspondent Charlie Daggett is at the Pentagon. Aaron, let's start with you. What a remarkable moment there in the Oval Office with the Prime Minister saying that not for sale, not now, not ever, and the President saying never say never, agreeing to disagree, it seems.
Yeah, the newly elected Canadian Prime Minister, Mark Carney, whose election was really impacted. His own political prospects boosted by this kind of anti-Trump sentiment ever since he has talked about annexing their neighbors to the north as the 51st state. In a press conference with reporters after that Oval Office meeting, Prime Minister Mark Carney said that he had told and asked President Trump to stop referring to Canada as the 51st state, said in French that it is, quote, not useful to continue doing so. He did not share President Trump's answer. And you heard President Trump say there, quote, never say never. But ever since then, throughout multiple events where we've seen the President today at the White House, he's only launched praise for Prime Minister Carney, said that their talk was constructive. But what we got from both men is that this is just the first step. There were no big trade deals announced. There were no big actions when it comes to the tariffs between the two countries announced. This is more of an introductory reset between the historically two strong allies.
Why this focus on making Canada the 51st state? I mean, this wasn't something he campaigned on. Are you getting a sense from aides that they want him to stay away from this? And also, the President was asked what it would take to lower tariffs against Canada. What did he say?
Yeah, this is something that going into this meeting, it was expected it wouldn't come up unless Prime Minister Carney brought it up, and we saw him, of course, make his firm remarks. It's something that President Trump, in a Truth Social post leading into the meeting, maybe plays into what he sees as the big trade imbalance between the U.S. and Canada. He has inflated that number, saying it's a $200 billion trade deficit. It's closer to $60 billion, according to recent numbers. But when asked when it comes to tariffs, what Canada can do to get him to lower it, President Trump replied no, and just said, quote, it's just the way it is. He later said that there would be, quote, no one-day deals, said it would take time, and he went on to say the U.S. does not need Canadian goods, particularly when it comes to autos. A lot of American companies import Canadian auto parts, and we heard Prime Minister Carney say that helps make American companies competitive and really make his case to President Trump during their meeting.
But we do import a lot of steel and aluminum from Canada. All right, the President was also asked about trade with China. What did we learn?
Well, we learned that we're pretty much at the same spot, that they haven't officially started yet. President Trump said he has not met or talked to Chinese President Xi. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said in the House Oversight Committee hearing that the two countries have not begun talks. And you're seeing White House officials such as Bessent, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick talk about their potential deals with non-China countries.
Aaron Navarro, thank you so much. CBS News senior national security correspondent Charlie Daggett joins us now for more on this newly announced agreement regarding Houthi rebels in Yemen. Charlie, what more are you learning?
Well, this is certainly a significant step forward because the United States has been involved, engaged in a shooting war, a kinetic war against adversaries in the Middle East. Let's not forget, lost two F-18 fighters. There's been a collision with the Truman there, and how the Defense Secretary has put it, this has been going on for months, this unrelenting war against the Houthis. So, in a nutshell, according to the President, the United States will stop attacking the Houthis, and the Houthis will stop targeting U.S. and naval assets and merchant ships in the Red Sea, which actually was the stated objective when this new offensive began. Interestingly, that was announced by President Trump, not from the DoD, so that sort of underlines how significant that military mission is. During that period, since March 15th, the United States has launched around 1,000 airstrikes against suspected Houthi targets in Yemen. And the first confirmation that we got, aside from what we heard from the White House, was not from the Houthis, but from the Foreign Ministry of Oman, which brokered the ceasefire. So this is a step forward. This is the U.S. military stepping back from a kinetic shooting war against an adversary.
Do we know Israel's stance on this?
Well, first of all, the Israelis were not told that the United States was pulling back from their offensive against the Houthis. And I have to point out that they're not necessarily going in a different direction, because U.S. officials told me that the recent Israeli retaliation in the bombing campaigns that we witnessed against the Houthis in the past couple of days, the United States has not been involved. These were not joint U.S.-Israeli exercises. Conversations are taking place at the highest level to make sure, ensure deconfliction, make sure U.S. airstrikes and cruise missiles aren't putting in peril Israeli jets. But these have never been joint operations. But, of course, Israelis say they are fighting a common enemy. So certainly it has helped that the United States has been able to deter strikes from the Houthis toward Israel. However, not enough. As we have witnessed in the past couple of days, the Houthis have been able to target inside Israel to get past Israeli defense systems and get very close to their airport. And the Houthis have said that fight will continue.
Charlie, there's a lot going on right now. In your beat, India says it has launched strikes on Pakistan and Pakistan-controlled Kashmir. What are you learning?
Lindsay, first of all, we have to pay attention to this, right? Because these are two nuclear-armed powers and sworn enemies. So what I got from the people that I spoke to here is that they're tracking events. What we got from the State Department, they say they're aware of the reports. However, they have no assessment to offer at this time. This remains an evolving situation, and we're closely monitoring developments. And there are concerns that this could escalate. This evening, the Prime Minister of Pakistan released a statement saying the cunning enemy has carried cowardly strikes against Pakistan.